So Donald Trump has made history as he's become the first former US president to have his mugshot taken. The former politician and businessman has travelled to Georgia to give himself in to the authorities over charges of conspiracy in the 2020 elections. So let's get some reaction and analysis about this from the lawyer and political women's rights activist Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu, as well as US political commentator and journalist Scotty Nell Hughes. Very good morning to both of you. Thanks so much for talking to us. Scotty, if I can start with you first of all. This is Donald Trump's fourth arrest, but his first mugshot. He's now made history as the first former president to have one taken. Will that be a source of humiliation for him?
Well, the Democrats would like to make it that way, but at this point, it looks like both parties are definitely capitalizing on the events of the last 24 hours here in the United States. Listen, Fulton County is my birth county, and I must say that I'm absolutely ashamed of a DA that is taking her own office and using the DOJ, using everything that she has in her power, and it's not even in her power, in the scope of her power, just to go after a political enemy of another party. That's what you see dictators do. That's what you see corrupt governments do, and we're seeing it in this case. But when you ask, is it actually going to be humiliating for him? The picture he took yesterday in the Fulton County jail when they booked him, his mugshot, that probably broke the internet more than Kim Kardashian's photo did a few years ago, because people are seeing what this is. So while the Democrats, and you've already seen Joe Biden put out his email fundraising off of it, I'm sure that the Democrats are contributing to it. So are the Republicans. And so now we have a new phrase of the 2024 campaign, never surrender. And that's a very powerful statement that's coming out that I think you're going to see reset the tone for the 2024 campaigns. And to be honest with you, I think it's only going to benefit Donald Trump, because thanks to this DA, they have now made him a martyr. And that usually does not work well for the other side.
What do you make of that, Shola? Do you think that Donald Trump will be able to use this mugshot to his advantage? He'll just say that it plays into his assertion this is a political persecution.
What you're looking at, the mugshot you're looking at, is the mugshot of the biggest con artist in America's political history. So of course he's going to use it to his advantage. You're talking about a narcissistic, morally bankrupt liar who claimed to have won the 2020 elections and then tried to overturn the elections in Georgia and other states. Look, let's understand this. America cannot boast of a democracy or free and fair elections or the rule of law if it has a former president who undermined all of it, and he's an embarrassment to the United States. So everything Scotty just said is totally baseless. The bottom line is Donald Trump is where he is because he broke the oath he took for the office, and he also went ahead to try to undermine the electoral democratic process of the United States, which is why he's now the recipient of 91 criminal charges. You also have to bear in mind that his arrest and prosecution is a test of America's rule of law, and it is evidence of America's crisis of political leadership. The only person to blame for Donald Trump's indictment and prosecution is Donald Trump. Stop trying to cast the blame on the Democrats or anybody else. If he had not committed the criminal acts that he did, he will not be charged right now. Simple.
And of course, he denies those political acts. But Scotty, how potentially perilous do you think this latest case in Georgia is for him?
Well, the good news, Shola, is, first of all, America is not a democracy. We are a republic, and there is a difference. So let's term what America's government is set up as in the process that we go through things, which makes this absolutely even more of a tragedy and travesty and why this is election interference, what this DA is doing, what Fani Willis is doing. This will actually, once again, you're seeing a DA that is taking it out of the scope of her realm and using it to go after a political enemy. And this is a woman who not only donated to the Democratic Party there locally, but also to the Biden campaigns during the elections during 2020, and there is nothing wrong, because we are a republic, in questioning the results of an election. Democrats have for years done that. In fact, they questioned the results of 2016, and then you have people that in Georgia themselves actually questioned it as well. So this Stacey Abrams, her still to this day believes that she was elected governor of Georgia. So there's nothing illegal about this. This is all about taking out someone that, I have to be honest with you, both Republicans and Democrats fear gets reelected in 2024, because if you thought that he had a vengeance against the corruption of the United States and the DOJ when he was elected in 2016, just you wait until he is elected in 2024, because he now has even more motivation to clean out the layers of corruption that has been building within this country for decades.
Okay, and Shola, what about that? He's a clear front runner in the race for the Republican nomination. Just one second. His supporters don't seem to care about these charges. Is it going to change any minds, do you think, there?
I think that those who are already set for Donald Trump are pretty much set, unless, for instance, we're able to have one of these court cases, come through before they have to select their Republican candidate. And because in that case, Donald Trump will have to prove his case that the election was stolen. Now, can I just quickly correct Scotty, please? First of all, Donald Trump is not being prosecuted for challenging the elections. He's being prosecuted for attempting to steal an election. There's a difference.
How?
And there's a big difference between Trump and Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams went through the court process, and once she lost in the court, she conceded. Donald Trump put out over 50 meritless lawsuits and lost every single one. He's a liar. But let me also get back to your point about, we're a republic and not a democracy. I'm sorry. America pushes this whole image of being the bastion of democracy, and my point still stands that it cannot boast of having a democracy if it has a former president that it fails to prosecute for undermining that same democracy.
Okay, we have to leave it there, but always great to talk to both of you. Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamemu and Scotty Nell Hughes, thanks so much for your time, both of you, especially given the very early hour that you've joined us. Thanks both very much indeed.